All right, so that was all latissimus stuff. Number 63 to number 73 is lat stuff. Now we're going to get into pectoralis major. Number 74 is your pectoralis major 90-90 stretch. We did show this before, but again, elbow up. Right here, you can find a wall or anything like that. Your shoulders are square this way. I'm not turned this way or this way. If you want to get a bigger stretch out of it, you could turn this way a little bit. But to start off like this, all I'm going to do is just lean my body forward until I get a nice stretch in the pec. If I want to make it a little bit tougher, I can start to turn my feet and really just turn it this way. You could also do, this is 90-90, you could also do where you bring your hand out here and you just start rotating and spinning this way. So you go out this way. It's a great way to stretch this all out. This is more advanced, and when they're done, you don't want them to try to get their arm off, it might hurt. When you're done, you could rotate back and then just slide your hand down, okay? So this is a 90-90 stretch. You could do straight arm pec stretch if you want to, but this is what it would be. And again, all my feet are doing is just turning this way, and I'm getting the stretch this way by holding this and moving my body to get a good stretch. I want to hold it for a good 15-30 seconds. 2-3 times should be good. It's a good home exercise program to show a patient. The next one we're going to do is shoulder adduction with a T-band, single flies on Plexi, so we're going to have to stop it. All right, so we're going to do, this is a single flies on Plexi. It's for anybody that, you know, had surgery maybe on their pec, or you want to start working the pec out, but not with like dumbbells or, you know, something so stressful. You could, or if their shoulder's not strong enough to be held up while they do their chest, you could just kind of work it from here. Pretty much start from here, you go straight in and straight out. Basically, make sure there's always tension on that TheraBand. It's just a popular exercise. We're going to add a lot? No. But if you want to get a shoulder patient back and their pec is the one we want to really kind of work to fire, this is a great exercise to do. You come in and you start straight, you go straight out. If you want to do it without the weight, make sure this thing is nice and tight so it's not catching on anything. So you can just come in like this. It's a great exercise to do. Even if you want to just do horizontal abduction, adduction on Plexi, this is a great exercise to do on here. If they can't bring their arm up to here and they need to rest it, this is a great slide range of motion exercise to do. All right, so that's Plexi, single flies on Plexi. Stop. All right, so number 76 is your bench press, okay? With dumbbells, you can do barbells eventually, but we're pretty much going to use dumbbells with people. It's just harder to do. It relies more on the shoulder girdle to kind of be stable for it. So same thing, they're going to stay like this, weights on their thighs. They're going to lay back. They're going to put their feet down. Sometimes people are shorter. You're going to have to put their feet up on step stools. They can do this if they want, put their feet up here. This relies a little more control, all right, because the feet, when they're down, it helps you stabilize. So pretty much going to do it with the feet down. Keep the weight on the heels. You don't want to be pushed on the toes. Elbows, 90-90. Okay, start from here. It's kind of hard to see, but an aide would be best to kneel down right behind the person, kind of control the wrists a little bit, hold on to them lightly, and just bring them up and down like training wheels, where they come down nice and wide again, and then they go up. Typically, people are going to do this, so you don't want them to do that. You want to say wrist over your elbows, which again is hard to see. But visually, I can see where the dumbbells are here. I'm looking out of my peripheral vision. I see the dumbbells are here. They're not here. So tell them to use their eyes and keep the dumbbells out here. Then they come up and they squeeze and they touch. People sometimes, same thing as military press, they come straight up and they go out that way. You want to get this full range of motion. You want to get this adduction, all right? The more the arm goes into adduction, the more you work in the pec. So if you stop here, you're missing this much of adduction. So you get this much better if you squeeze it all the way up and then come back down nice and wide, nice and slow. And when they're done with their set, they can come down and hold it here. Some people just hang out here like this. When they're ready for the next one, they come up and they do it again. If they want, they could come down like this. I don't recommend this because it might hurt their bicep tendon, and picking it back up certainly is going to hurt. But typically people hold it like this and they're comfortable, unless they're using like heavy weight. But you want to do this. What you could also do is, I've seen people do this, where you kind of come down like this and you just sit up with it. But again, not something that you want to recommend. If you're there with them, just grab the dumbbells from them. Never grab a dumbbell over their face. If it drops, it falls right on their face. So have them come down like this and take the dumbbell from here off their chest. All right, so that's your flat bench. Now we're going to move on to number 77, which is incline bench with dumbbells. I brought this seat up a little bit. There's a little bar underneath there that helps keep it up. Brought this back to the incline bench setting. Person sits down. Okay, they put their legs like this. Legs sometimes are going to be dangling. That's fine. All right, come back like this. Your head is back, leaning here. Before, when we did the bench press, the dumbbells met over my chest. This time, they're going to meet right over my eyes. All right, so that's how you're going to do incline. Come up like this. Come down nice and wide again. Come back up. Come down nice and wide. Wrist over the elbows. Not like this. Not like that. And when you come up, you know, you don't have to come up like this. You can actually touch them lightly. These are rubber. So you don't want somebody to do this. They bounce off. Now it's hard to control them. Come up, gently touch them, and then go right back down nice and wide. Okay, this is incline. And then when they come back down, they can finish like this. When they're ready to start back up again, they can kick it up and start the same thing over again. All right? So here's your incline bench. That was number 77. Number 78, we're going to do flies with the dumbbells. So same thing, right here. Hold it like this. Lean back. From here, you're going to go up. You're going to turn the dumbbells in. And then you're going to come down with the elbows slightly bent. Not bent like this, slightly bent. They're going to come out. You're going to really stretch out this pec. This is the hardest one to do on the bench. So if they're using, what are these, 15s to do bench press, you want to give them like 10s to do flies, even maybe a little less. Because bench press, you're coming here. This is how far the dumbbell is from the joint. Flies, you're coming out here. So it's harder because the dumbbell's further away from the joint. It puts a lot more stress on the shoulder joint. So come from here, then when you come up, pretend like you're wrapping your arms around a tree, right? Big hug around the tree. Come back down again. Elbow slightly bent, and it stays slightly bent throughout the whole motion. All right? So that is flies. When they're done, they can, again, rest the weight on their chest, or the aide can take it from them. All right, so we're going to walk over to the table. Do table push-ups. I'm sorry, hold on. Scratch. Okay, so the next one, real quick, is number 79. All right, so number 79 is flies with the T-band, and eventually we're going to use the cable column. I'm going to just show you the one hand at the beginning. So you want to start from here. The bar is going to be, where the dumbbell is going to be behind me. It's not going to be in front. It's going to be behind me by like maybe half a foot. So you're going to start from here, out here, come straight in. The pectoralis major, the major function of it is adduction, horizontal abduction. So you start from here, and you go straight in. The elbow never bends. It stays bent the whole time. Come straight in, and it goes straight out. You never want it where you're standing like this and this slack there. Nice and taut to begin, at the very far range of motion. Come in, straight out. Now you notice I'm not doing this. Keep this down. Best to do this in the mirror so you can see what you're doing. So keep this in, down like this, straight across like this. You can, at the tail end, turn your fist up a little bit just to get a better squeeze in here, okay? Straight in like this. You want to have two T-bands that are equal in length to do that, and it comes straight in like this. It's best, though, to use the cable column, all right? I don't like the fact that these things are a little longer because you're going to hit the mirror, but you want this slightly behind you. Knees are slightly bent. You could have one foot forward in front of the other. And you come in straight in like this and straight back. All right? You want to watch both weights. You know, this one shouldn't be up like this and this one's down because I'm over this, you know, I'm too far to the right. So you see the two bars that are here. Try to be right in the middle of them. All right? Try to have the same range of motion. Get a little bit of pull from each one. You'll figure out where you have to stand. Okay, again, I'm looking up at the bars. From here, it comes straight in, almost like I want to hit the mirror. All right, my elbows are straightened out almost. And you see how this one hit first? You don't want to do that. Take a little step to your right. Come in, come out. Come in, come out. If you feel like your patient's arms are going to hit the mirror because they have longer arms than I do, then you do it this way. Come in like this, and then come up like that. Come back, come in. Theme here is elbows stay straight. You squeeze in here, you can turn your fist up a little bit. Instead of like this, you can go like this, and your knuckles, your pinky knuckles can hit, and then you come right back again. All right, when you're done, you step back, and you're done. So here's your flies with the cable column. Again, Some things might be out of order. We're gonna do table push-ups, which is certainly easier than flies, all right? So this one should have been further up, but again, it's just something for you to learn. This is something that you wanna teach people with wrist fractures, elbow fractures, or any kind of elbow issues, shoulder issues. It's the weight-bearing part of it that's important. So it's not all about all the pecs, and let me work the pecs with a table push-up. There's a lot of different ways you can work the pecs. This is a great exercise you can do where, it's number 80. Elbows are here, okay, hands are here. You go further back. It's easier if you do this. It's harder if you do this. But you're pretty much gonna go down, come straight up. Down, come straight up. Unless someone's got a really, really wide chest, putting their hands here, this corner should fit right into the hands. You don't want them to put like this and then they slide off and they're falling. So make sure if they want to put their thumbs here, they have it, however which way to keep themselves stable. Where they come down and up. Almost to the chest touching, up. Okay, so there's your table push-ups. You want to do push-ups on your knees, that's number 81. You could use a foam pad on the person's knees if it's too hard for them. That they have to put their knees down, you want to make it comfortable, or a towel. But pretty much, they're like this. The wrists and the hands are further out from the shoulder joints by a little bit. They come straight down, chest touches, go back up. All right, you don't want their ass up like this. Tuck it in, get their belly in, flat chest, flat stomach. Their feet can come off as they go down. And eventually you want to progress to someone doing a regular push-up, number 82. Number 81, all right? So same thing, that 81 was on the knees, progressing to straight up like this. Down, up, down, up. You want to work more triceps, you can have their hands closer, down, up, and again, excellent exercise for the wrist, elbow, if you want to get that weight bearing back in. Number 82 is push-up position, alternating chest taps. This is hard even for me to do, from here, like this. Okay, if someone is a shoulder patient where they have instability and you want to get them to be able to weight bear their whole body weight on it, you maybe do this. Let's say their left shoulder is the problem. You kind of hold it and you weight shift over. You might have to start with on the knees, weight shifting over. You progress to, doing this, or even just, this is the problem arm, so you don't want to really lift it off. You just kind of do this and you have to hold their whole body weight with their one arm. And then you progress to, in the push-up position, and you just do that, okay? All right, so we're gonna progress to push-ups. Again, it doesn't have to just be a chest exercise, it's a great upper extremity exercise. We're gonna do it with the rocket board. See, the rocket board goes this way. That's the way you want it. The person gets it like this. Go in a position like that. Down and up, down and up. The thing wants to do this. The person has to control it, okay? So they have to go down and up. They can have their hands like that. They can have their hands like this. However which way they want to have it, okay? It doesn't matter which way really your wrist is, as long as they're comfortable. And it's going to want to, again, do this, and they have to control and keep it nice and level. Down and up. Progression from that is Bosu, okay? So again, they're holding it like this. This thing really wants to wobble, all right? Down and up. You can see it shaking a little bit as I'm doing it. It's a nice progression. You're working the proprioceptors, which are the receptors at the joint that tell you, best example of proprioceptors is when you're on ice and you feel like you're gonna fall. And the thing that kicks in and keeps you level is your proprioceptors. You have them at every joint. It also tells you what position your joint is at. So if you close your eyes and you're like this, you know that you're at 90 degrees because your receptors tell you. So that's another one you can do. Again, down, up, down, up. Finally, we progress to cortex. This one, very important. You don't want their fingers here because if it slides, it gets jammed right up in there. So their hands have to stay here. They're like this. This thing really wants to shake. Down and up, down and up. You gotta really control it. You want to also do a one arm. I've never even tried this, but they could hold a dumbbell here. Like if there was a dumbbell right here, you'd be holding the dumbbell arm. And, they close their eyes and an aide perturbates this thing. That means while they're in this push-up position, the aide kind of moves this all around so their shoulder has to work. So let's pretend this is the dumbbell. I'm holding on. I'll close my eyes, and there'd be an aide moving this thing around. So if you ever see cortex, single push-up cortex with perturbation, that's what that is. All right, let me stop. Okay, so now we're done with the pecs and the push-ups and everything. Now we're getting onto the triceps. Scale it back down to the single, the simplest way to do it. Typically, people after shoulder surgery, we want to start kicking in the triceps because the biceps usually inflamed. So again, start with a T-band, start with a lighter one than the black. Again, it's yellow, green, black is the hardest, easiest to hardest. Elbow right at the side, stand nice and tall, come straight down, and come straight up. That's it. Not this, you know, you want to see this. So down nice and slow, 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2, 3. If they're not able to get all the way down because the T-band's too hard, go to a lighter T-band, go to a green or even a yellow. But they have to get the elbow to lock out, and then they come back down. It's not this easy either, okay? It's not pushing down. Nothing else moves other than the joint that we're working. Down and up. So that's single with a T-band. If we want to do it with the progress now, we want to do with the weight. This is the lowest weight here is 20 pounds. Again, you always want to strive to have muscle balance and muscle to be equal. So hopefully the person is doing this with 20 pounds, 30 pounds, their other tricep is probably maybe as strong as this so that you can progress to the bilateral. But we want to muscle test the person and make sure they're there where they should be. So therapists have to review this and make sure, okay, we're advancing people. But if you're an aide and you see that this person's doing like 30 pounds single, maybe suggest to the therapist, say, look, they're doing this much weight. Are they even with the other side? Because sometimes if you don't look at it too soon, now you have the person being stronger on the affected side and the other side's weaker. So be mindful of it. You don't have to just set people up. You can ask questions and say, hey, can we progress this to a bilateral or even harder exercise? Same deal. Knees are slightly bent or unlocked. Elbows at the side. Come straight down, straight back up, straight down, straight back up. Again, lockout is full range of motion. And when the elbow bends the most, the elbow has to stay pinned to the side. Just like with the T-band, you can't have the elbow leave the side. The elbow has to stay pinned to the side. And as much as the elbow bends is as far as they go, all right? They don't want to have to bring the weight all the way back up and then keep trying to bring it back down. Elbow stays to the side, down, up. This is full range. Elbow bends the most, elbow straightens the most. That's full range of motion. That's single, then we're going to go over to the bilateral. You want to grab right here. This thing rotates. It's important to know that because you want to grab up here. Knees are slightly bent. Get your butt out a little bit. Elbows straight to your sides. Again, they're nailed to the side. We start from here because my elbows are bent fully. From here, come down, elbows are straight, wrists are straight, okay? The wrists are not moving. If you notice my wrists, watch them, they're not really moving. It's the bar moving around the other bar that's allowing for the movement. So you want to keep your wrists nice and straight as you go up and down. Elbows stay pinned to your side. This doesn't go higher than the nose typically, and you go straight down and up. And you should feel it just in your triceps. All right, you don't want to be standing up like this. You don't want to be back here. Just here enough where you're not hitting this bar, but you can go straight down and up. Okay, you can also do this with the rope, which what the rope does is, as you're doing this, you can allow for more extension of the elbows. A little bit harder to do because when you get down to here with the bar, you lock out, but you don't fully lock out. This allows you to really get that last bit of squeeze. So it's a better advancement to do that. Come down like this. Same deal, elbows stay at the sides. They don't move up like this. They stay down, okay? Go up and down. So that's number 84, tricep extension. Then we're gonna go over to skull crushers, number 85. And again, you can do this on the bench, or you can do this on the table if the person is lacking a little bit of coordination, maybe just worried about them, getting on and off the bench. So they come here. Again, you want to put your feet up. This is for the really advanced. If you don't think the person can kind of keep themselves stable, then put their feet down. And was, putting their feet on top of this, metal piece right here is fine as long as they have something stable. They come up like this, okay? And pretty much they stay here. That means the arms can't go down this way anymore. We want the arms to stay in this much flexion and then some, okay? And then from here, they bend the elbows, right so the dumbbells are next to their ears, almost so the dumbbells touching the pad, and then they come right back up, okay? Then they come down again, then the elbows, squeeze back up. Nothing else is moving. I don't want to see this. That's not correct. The arm, this is the arm. All right, from here down is the arm. I don't want the arm, loosen dumbbell. I don't want the arm to move at all. The arm has to stay in this position, then the elbow bends. Okay, so if you're doing a single, the person could put their hand here and stop the elbow from moving down, because I don't want this. Got to keep it like this, where the elbow is just slightly up higher than the shoulder joint. So if you drew an angle line like this, it's not quite here, it's back a little bit, there's this little bit of space, that's what you want. So come down and up, there's your single, and you don't want the arm across the body either, right here. Down and up. This looks like a simple exercise to do, but there's a lot of rules to it. And last thing with the wrist, don't let them do this with the wrist. Wrist stays straight, down and up, down and up. It's a very hard exercise because it's isolating the triceps. And again, bilaterally, come down, straight up, okay? And when they're done, they just bring the weights down like we normally showed you. Let me stop there. All right, so number 85, we just did with skull crushers, supine, we did single and bilateral. Number 86, this is the exercise you would add. It's not a very popular one, but you would add it for someone that has a long head of the bicep strain and you want to relax it. So you want to get the arm in extension, and then you'll definitely want to use a towel because this pad, digging into a strained bicep is not going to be comfortable. So you want to have it like this, start from here, it goes straight back. So there's a great way to stretch out a bicep tendon that's very, very inflamed, and you want to still work the tricep. They go back this way. If they feel like the pad's getting in the way, they can lean back a little bit and lock it out that way. All right? All right, so the next one is standing tricep extension at 90 degrees. 90 degrees at the shoulder. Person standing, they can put one foot in front of the other if they want. Elbow is pointing straight forward. Come out like this, down. Out like this, and back. It's a great exercise for the tricep. You're at 90 degrees, not quite so high up in the air, but you're back and forward. All right, so number 88 is overhead tricep extension at 180. So it's a harder one to do. You can do this with one arm, but typically this is a bilateral exercise. Again, not too popular, but people that are getting into it and they're getting better and better and they're getting stronger, especially your personal training clients, you want to use this on. They would come in like this. You see how I keep this close to me? I don't let the rope out here. Keep this close, bring it up over my head, stand like this, and from here, come straight out. All right, so my shoulders are all the way up, come in. You can see with my triceps, I'm locking out, I'm not killing my wrists. Come down, back up. I'm in this kind of a lunge position. I'm not lunging forward too much, but I'm in a comfortable position. If I have to stay here, it's not a problem. All right? Coming out, coming back in. Nothing is moving at the shoulders. It's just the elbows. And then when I'm done, I can come down like this, turn, and let it come back. All right? We don't have to gently put it down. I want the person, because it's an awkward position right here, so if they want to come in like this and let it come down, it's okay. All right? You don't want to slam, but nice and easy is all right. But again, that's more of a personal training client type of exercise. Now we're going to narrow push-ups, which I kind of showed you before. When the arms are out here, you're using more pec. As you're bringing your arms in more, you're using more triceps, along with pec. But now the angle changes. So instead of going like this, where it's a pec bringing you up, this is more of your triceps going down, straight up. So your pecs are working a little bit, of course, to stabilize you, but your elbow is bending and your elbow is straight up extending is mostly what's going on. All right? You've seen a lot of people doing diamond push-ups. I don't like that because it torques the wrist a lot. So as close as we're gonna go is what the person's shoulder width is. Maybe a little bit in, but that's about it. Because as they're coming in, you don't want this, where, look at the uncomfortableness of the wrist. It's just a bad position, all right? So that's the way you do it. And again, you can progress from this position, down and up, to the regular down and up, all right? All right. So we just got done with the triceps. Now we're on to number 90, which is the seated or standing bicep curls. Again, what's the rule? Whenever you're standing with weight in your hands, your knees are always slightly unlocked. Standing like this. You can do this if you want, okay, where they're here. But you have to supinate because the bicep does supination. Supinate, come straight up. It's not this. elbow stays at your side. Okay, so elbow stays right at your side. Some people lean back when they do this. You shouldn't. You should lean forward a little bit. Have a little bit of a forward hunch. Come straight up like this, and then turn it on the way back down. Come up, squeeze, back down. Don't kill the weight. Don't try to squeeze the hell out of the weight. Your dumbbell should just be resting in your hand. All right. Come up and squeeze, and don't move your elbow away from your body. Keep it like nice and tight like this. Come back down. Bilaterally should look like this. Come up, down. Come up and down. Okay. The reason I don't really do this is this kicks in a little bit of external rotation at the shoulder. Sometimes people feel at the shoulder when they're doing this. They're trying to externally rotate so much to keep the dumbbells away from hitting their thighs that they wind up feeling in their shoulders more than their biceps. So this is okay. You want to come up and come down, especially the fact that the bicep does supination, and you want to work the supinating part of it as well. So you can do that seated. You sit down at the edge, put the feet out in front of you, knees come in, elbows right at your side, the knees come in because you don't want the dumbbells to hit your knees, and same thing. Come up, you see I'm leaning forward a little bit. You don't have to sit up nice and tall like this. Lean forward a little bit, come straight up and down. Come straight up and down, okay? That's bicep curl seated or standing. Okay, so this is the preacher, curl. This is the easy bar. We always say easy bar. It's curled. Okay, so we're gonna do preacher with the left. It looks like this. They're kind of leaning over it. You take your dumbbell, hold it like this. This pretty much my biceps not working at all because the weight is going straight down. My elbow's bent to the point where it's not really kicking in bicep. My biceps kind of actually flat. So once I do this now, bicep starts kicking in. So it's all about the angle of pull. So they're leaning forward, elbow, their whole triceps in line and in contact with the pad. They hold on with the other hand, they come down. Right before the elbow locks out, they come back up. And again, once they come up, we don't lift. Come down, come up. You can keep the bar here if you want as a little stopper for the patient so they don't lock out all the way, their elbow. Come up. Sometimes you guys take it off, that's fine, but just know that the dumbbell shouldn't be hitting that bar because the person shouldn't be locking out all the way. If they have a strained tricep, which is why we would add this exercise, you want to use the towel that's a T with a circle around it, just because this pad digging into a strained tricep might aggravate it. So we give it a little bit more padding. That's it. Don't put it here. Okay, this doesn't make any sense. Put it in line with the muscle that you're using. So the whole thing should be in contact with the towel. Again, down and up, down and up, okay? If you're using the bar, you stand up, tell the person to stand up, grab the inside curl, okay? They bring it up a little bit, and then they sit down. And then when they're sitting down, now they come down, then back up. Down, and back up. Again, the elbows are not locking out as they come down. I'm not doing this. It's no good. You want to stop here. And then when you finish with the exercise, you have to go all the way up. Squeeze the bicep, okay, as much as they can. You see that max contact with my forearm, my bicep touching, that's full range of motion. And then when they're done, they stand up, or they sit up, and let the weight kind of pull them down until it's down, and then they're done. So that's preacher curl, single, preacher curl with a towel, and then preacher curl bilateral with the easy bar. And that should be exercise number 91. The bicep, since it's a two-joint muscle, it crosses the shoulder and the elbow, and it does 3 different motions, all right? Actually 4. It does internal rotation, shoulder flexion, elbow flexion, and supination at the forearm. So there's different things you want to work it at different angles. It's not just straight up doing it this way. If you want to stretch out the tricep, we just showed you stretching it out, and the preacher curl is pretty good. A more advanced exercise, and way to do that is without the pad holding you, is the standing up like this, coming in like that. So it's just straight up. If you see single pose, single bicep pose, see bodybuilders are always posing like this, straight up like this. Knees are slightly unlocked, elbow is in line with the TheraBand, coming in, coming straight out, and they're squeezing. We're going to do this bilaterally, cable column. Always have the apparatus higher than the person. Okay? Come in like this, squeeze, come back out. You see where that happens? You can do it, I'll do it where you guys can hear me better. Come out forward. This could be behind the person a little bit, not too much. Squeezing in, come back out. Squeezing in, come back out. Again, this is a great exercise to give to people that have done their rehab and now they're doing things like good mornings, so the cortex perturbations and military press, and you want to get where higher functional things where they're not just doing a bicep curl, they're working out their bicep where, you know, they're doing something like this. And they always keep the elbows, don't let them straighten out all the way, curl it in, bring it out. The weights are slightly, the knees are slightly bent, curling in, going out. All right, so there's your pose, single with a TheraBand or single with a cable column or bilateral. Okay, so number 93 is your incline bicep curl. It is putting, instead of being right at your side, you're allowing your arms to go back into a little bit of extension. It's a harder exercise to do. I cross my feet when I do this. You can dangle your feet, you can put things underneath their feet. You really don't need anything underneath your feet for this one because the more unstable you are, honestly, the better it is, the harder it is. So from here, you come straight up and straight back down. You can angle this back one more notch if you want. Come up, straight back down. It's harder to do this. If you were to try to do this with like a, let's say you do a regular seated bicep curl with like a 15s, it's a lot harder to do it this way with the arms just hanging back into extension. Just a line of pull is a lot harder, all right? So again, there's something to think about when you're doing your exercises, the person you want to advance them and make it a little harder for the person. You might want to suggest this to the therapist and say, hey, can we do inclined bicep curls? And again, you can have this back where it actually lines up with the incline bench press. You can have it like that if you want. That would actually be harder and it wouldn't make a difference. It would actually be more challenging for the patient. So that was number 93, incline seated bicep curls with a dumbbell in shoulder extension. But if you just write incline bicep curls, it's doing all the things that we just described. Okay, we're gonna move on to brachialis, which is the muscle underneath your bicep. It's the primary flexor of the elbow. So if you wanna see what muscles are working, pretty much, if you are supinated, your biceps are working mostly. If you are pronated, your brachialis is working mostly. If you are in a neutral position at your wrist, it's your brachioradialis muscle right here. So it's a little anatomy for you guys. So if you're ever doing a pronated reverse curls with dumbbell or cable column, we'll show you the cable column in a minute. But this is number 94. You just pretty much go like this. Your elbows are down. I mean, your palms are facing down. You come up, squeezing it like this. It's harder to grip. Sometimes you could use wrist grips to hold this weight in our hand, but your thumbs could be over, underneath, but you're pretty much doing this, okay? Down and up. So again, this is a reverse curl for the brachialis. Same thing, this is the tricep bar. Instead of being up there, we've moved it down here. Knees are slightly unlocked, bent, thumbs are over. This thing, remember, moves around. Elbows are pinned to your side. Straight up. Straight up. Okay, this is a lot more comfortable than the dumbbell. All right, I feel like I have this better. It's a little thinner. Actually, it's easy to grip. Come up, straight down. It's just the same. Elbows are at the sides. You want to do the full range of motion at the elbows and nothing more. You don't want to do this. You want to come all the way down. Keep your body the way it is, nice and stable. Up and down. All right, so that's your reverse curl with the cable column.